excited to introduce a special, unique person. It's your keynote speaker. This individual is as highly sought-after professional speaker as there is. He impacts teens and adults at all levels, helping them achieve their peak performance. This individual, before becoming a keynote speaker, walked on the Ole Miss football team and eventually earned a full Division I football scholarship at 5'7", 150 pounds. He also played arena football professionally, is a #1 best-selling author, and a successful entrepreneur. He delivers more than 100 life-changing keynotes and workshops each year and has been seen on ESPN, USA Today, CBS Sports, Fox Sports, ABC Sports, and has performed in front of hundreds of thousands of people. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage award-winning speaker, Richie Contartesi.
Can't see, but
size was always an adversity for me, but I could overcome that with passion and desire to win. My name is Richie Contartesi. I am a ex-SEC college football player, ex-professional arena football player, and now I am a motivational speaker. I never felt small. I always felt that I fit in. I always had this dream of playing big-time college football, and I knew eventually I would. It wasn't even a doubt in my mind that it would happen. So when I found out I got the tryout, I was unbelievably excited. But when I drove around the campus of Ole Miss and saw the stadium, it was a feeling and tingles down my arms. I was just so excited to be there and know that I had the opportunity to one day play inside of the stadium. I went to school that first day knowing that I had this tryout, this one opportunity to play football at Ole Miss. I always felt like I belonged, but watching some of these guys walk by, I was scared. A lot of people say you're lucky. You were lucky to get that opportunity at Ole Miss. But my dad always told me luck is when preparedness meets opportunity. Finally, I get the call, and he said, "Richie, congratulations. You've made a 1-week tryout." And I was like, "A 1-week tryout? I thought I made the team." I think it was because of my size that they wanted to see if I could take basically the punishment of being a practice squad hitting dummy. So I walked into the locker room that next day. I had a locker, and on my locker there was a piece of tape with my name on it. And I remember just sitting there and staring at that piece of tape. This was everything. It was either I made this football team or my lifelong goal and all these years I've put into it was over. I was going to do anything and everything to earn that scholarship. We started warming up as a team, and there was a weird feeling in the air. And I'm warming up, and I get a tap on my shoulder, and I turn around, and it's Coach Nutt, and he's got his whistle in his mouth, and he drops his whistle, and he says, "Richie, I just want to let you know, we're putting you on scholarship. You earned it." It was a lot of years in the making for this one goal, this one dream that I had, and in 1 second, I got the news that it happened. Now I felt like I was really an Ole Miss rebel. I was a football player. I was part of the team. There's something that I lived by from Little League football, high school football, and in college football. Have the dirtiest uniform, keep your mouth shut, and always listen to the coach. And those are the 3 things that I lived by in football, and those are the 3 things that I live by in business.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up, and they stay there.
let's go South Carolina FFA. Let me hear you. Now you got me feeling like I'm running out of the tunnel at Ole Miss. So I like it. Oh, we're in Clemson City, aren't we? You know, I understand that some of you are here to be recognized, some of you are here to compete, and some of you are here to learn, but all of you are here to grow. All of you are here to get better. All of you are here to maximize your potential, and all of you are here to become a better version of yourself. And I have a question for you. By a show of hands, how many of you have a major goal that you want to achieve this year? Go ahead and keep your hand up. Go ahead and keep your hand up if you've written that goal down and you've read it this morning. Ooh. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Good job. You can go ahead and put your hands down, but as you looked around, you know, I'll never forget, I was in 5th grade and I was getting out of bed to get ready for school, and all I could hear were my parents down the hall arguing and fighting. I could hear my sister in the room next to me crying. And as I got out of bed, all I could think about was getting out of my house so I could get to school, but really so I could get home and play with my friends, so that I could play football. But on this particular day, I get home from school and both my parents are sitting at the kitchen table. And my dad says, "Richie, come and sit down." So I go and I sit down. It's this old wood rickety table. And I look at my parents and they both have watery eyes. And my dad says to me, "Your mom and I we're getting a divorce." See, I have dyslexia, I have ADHD. I was told I couldn't read and write. School was really hard for me. And after my parents got divorced, it got even worse. Towards the end of my 5th grade year, the inevitable happened. I walked into the classroom. My teacher said, "Richie, go stand outside." So I went and I stood outside, and she said, "I've been trying to tell you all year that if you don't make a change, you're going to fail 5th grade. And I reviewed your grades with the principal this morning, and you failed." Broken home. I was going to have to go back into 5th grade when all my friends were going into 6th grade, and I was now no longer allowed to do the only thing that I love to do, which is play football. So in that moment, parents got divorced, 5th grade, I felt unworthy. I felt depressed. I was watching everybody around me doing really well, and I would say to myself, like, how am I ever going to make it? And so I almost made the biggest mistake of my life by taking it. Something happened that changed my life forever. I went on the internet and I looked up the academic requirements needed in order to play big-time college football. And that night, when I looked at those requirements, I didn't look at them and say, I can definitely do that. But what I did say is this possible? And there's times in all of our lives that we have a major goal that we want to achieve, and we can't say, you know what, I can definitely do that. But what we can say is that it's possible. And that night, I had no idea what I was doing. When I printed out that sheet of paper and I circled and I wrote down what I needed, what I did was I wrote down my goal. And after I wrote down my goal, I started to think differently. I started to talk differently. I started to act differently. See, I even started to walk differently. See, I started to walk with a swag. It's crazy. Things around me started to happen differently. A few weeks later, my mom comes home and she finds a school that I can make up 5th and 6th grade in the same year. And every single day before I went to that school, I looked at that sheet of paper and I went to school with a purpose, with a passion, with excitement. I learned how to study. I learned how to build relationships with my teachers. I learned the game of school. My report card, it was embarrassing. It used to look like this: F, F, D, D, C, C, B, like maybe. From that point on, I never got an F, never got a D, rarely ever got a C, because I wrote down and I looked at that goal every single day. And you look at a room like this of leaders, and we have 4 or 5 that I can tell that kept their hand up. That's in here. Can you imagine what's out there? Lots of studies have been done. Only 3%, listen to me closely, only 3% of Americans have legitimate goals, and only 1% write them down. And these are the same 1% that wake up every day excited, wake up every day with purpose, with passion. So if you learn anything from me today, if you leave here and you write down your goal, you at least put yourself in the position to be in the top 1%. You at least put yourself in the position. See, everybody dreams big. It doesn't take any effort. It doesn't take any action. But the ones that get whatever they want, they write it down. They do what? Yeah. You know why people don't write their goals down? Simple. Because they have to hold themselves accountable. Listen to me closely, because they have to potentially, one day, look at themselves in the mirror and say, I failed. And that scares people so much that they go their whole life having these ambitions, having these dreams, having these passions, and they go their whole life sitting in what I call the comfort zone, where they don't have to worry about failing, where they don't have to hold themselves accountable. And they play it safe in the comfort zone. And I think it's important we have that one big goal, right? Just one. But it's the little goals, it's the daily goals, it's the weekly goals that lead up to achieving that big goal that each and every one of you have. So I challenge you, when you leave here today, to write down your goal, to write down at least just one. How many? Just one. I love it. I love it. You know, I'm extremely thankful to have the opportunity to be here, and there's someone that I want to recognize who I know it's her first year, and she's done an absolute amazing job putting this together and the amount of time that she put into this. So I think we should give her a huge round of applause, and that's Jillian, so let's give her a round of applause. Really impressive. As well as 6 amazing individuals that I had a chance to spend some time with, and that's the state officers. They have done an amazing job. Let's give them a round of applause. Good job. And so today, what I'm going to do is share with you a roadmap. Share with you a plan so you can achieve whatever that level of success is to you, whatever that means to you, because I know it's a little bit different for everybody, so whatever that means to you. And the best part is you don't have to be the most talented, you don't have to be the most gifted, and you do not have to be the smartest. And yes, I'll go ahead and I'll share my story, but I want to be extremely clear that yes, I've got a football story, but this is absolutely not about football. At all. This is about life. This is about getting whatever you want, whatever you desire. That's what this is about. Since I could ever remember, I dreamt of playing big-time ball. Like, how cool would it be to run out of the tunnel at Clemson or run out of the tunnel in front of 60,000 screaming fans? And even though I wasn't the biggest, the fastest, the strongest, or the most talented, I was always just the hardest worker and the toughest guy in the field. And because of that, in high school, I was able to win awards such as Offensive Player of the Year and Most Valuable Player. Unfortunately, during my senior year of high school, I broke my ankle, and any opportunity that I had to play any kind of real college football went out the window. One coach, one college coach at a school you've probably never heard of, Jacksonville University in Florida. It's not Division I. They don't even give athletic scholarships. Decided to give me a chance, and it was all I had, so I went. In my first year there, I was redshirted, which means I was ineligible to play in any games. They didn't think I was good enough, so I was just on the practice squad. At the end of the season, this one coach that decided to give me a chance gets fired. So I come back from Christmas break, and I'm walking into the weight room, and I get a tap on my shoulder. And when I turn around, it was the new head coach, Kerwin Bell. He said, "Richie, come into my office." So I go and I sit in his office, and he says, "We appreciate you being a part of Jacksonville University, but we're gonna have to cut you. We're gonna go in a different direction." So I walked out of his office and sat in my car, and tears poured down my eyes, and I had a decision to make. I could quit, throw in the towel, and then tell myself that the reason that I didn't get to play big time ball, the reason that I didn't get to fulfill my dream was because I wasn't given the gifts of size and talent and speed that I needed, and one day lay on my deathbed and say, what if? Or I could follow my heart. I could follow my heart and attempt to find a school that would let me try out. Attempt to run out of the tunnel. Attempt to play in a game. Attempt to earn a full Division I football scholarship at Ole Miss. One of the most prestigious powerhouse SEC football programs in the country. The same school that brought Eli Manning from the New York Giants, Michael Orr from the Blind Side, and many other great players. So what makes a kid that just got kicked out of a school you've never even heard of, not Division I, not play on TV, think that he could play in one of the best conferences in the country, besides Clemson? It was straight up. It was straight up because I believed in myself. And don't get me wrong when I say that. It's not like I woke up every single day and I felt great. No, there were some days I woke up and I doubted myself. And people always ask the same questions. They say, Richie, what was the hardest part about earning a Division I football scholarship at 5'7", 150? Or what was the hardest part about writing a #1 bestseller with dyslexia and ADHD and failing 5th grade? And what was the hardest part about starting a successful business? And I always told them the hardest part wasn't earning the scholarship, the hardest part wasn't writing the book, and the hardest part wasn't starting the business. The hardest part was believing it could happen to me. Was believing that I could do it. These guys that I was going to attempt to go up against, right, they were all highly talented, nationally recognized, and they were all preparing for the NFL. So I knew it was going to take every ounce of strength and resilience that I had just to get a tryout, just to get a chance. And when I found out, looking back, there were 3 things that I had to do. 3 things. And the same 3 things that I've used to write the book and start the same things you can use to get whatever it is that you want. And the first is building relationships. The first is what? Now I think this is really important to understand that these 3 things are simple but not easy. They're simple but not easy. So I'm going to share with you the practicality to it and the how-tos as well. When I was 12 years old, I met a man who changed my life forever. I broke my arm while I was playing Little League football. When I went to rehab, I was introduced to a trainer by the name of Kyle Strongin. And during this 3-month training period, we began building a relationship. He saw me getting there early and leaving late, trying to lift heavier weights, do everything I could to get back on the field. After that 3-month period, we went our separate ways. As I was going into my senior year of high school, I was walking up the steps into the film room, and I saw a coach drawing plays on the board, a coach that I had never seen before, and when he turned around, it was Kyle Strongin. And just like that, he was right back into my life again, and we continued to build that relationship. He saw how much I cared about the team. He saw my love for the game. He saw my work ethic. Now, like I mentioned earlier, I broke my leg during my senior year, and you really got to see the person that I was. How I handled adversity when things got difficult, getting in the rehab center early and leaving late at practice every day when I didn't need to be there, on the sidelines, during games, unselfishly drawing plays, doing everything that I could to help the team win, even though any opportunity at that point to fulfill my own dream went out the window. What he saw was not my talent or my size. What he saw was my character. And a year and a half later, when I got kicked out of Jacksonville University because they didn't think I was a good fit for their program, I found out that Kyle had just received an internship at Ole Miss. Because of the relationship I had with Kyle starting when I was 12 years old, I had the courage to call Kyle and ask him, can I get in? Can I play football at Ole Miss? Without any hesitation, he said, Richie, if there was one person that I would help get in, it was you. He was able to get me in academically in one shot, one 1-hour tryout. And I didn't find this out until after I graduated, but he said he went to the coaches and he said they weren't going to let me try out because they saw what I looked like on paper, height and weight. He said he went to the coaches and he said, look, this guy, he's not the biggest, he's not the most talented, he's not. But he's a leader. He'll make everybody around him better. He'll make the team better. Give him a shot. And because of that, I got one 1-hour trial. So I've got to ask you, what relationships are you building right now? What relationships are you building this weekend? When you go back to your schools, or you're the advisors this weekend, you go back to schools, your teachers, your counselors, your principals, your after-school activities, your other FFA members, the advisor, like these are the relationships that are going to dictate your future. And I totally get it. I totally get it that not all of you can see that right now. I certainly didn't. I built this one relationship with Kyle, and it's taken me places I couldn't even imagine, but there were so many other relationships that I completely blew off because I thought it was too cool, because I thought I didn't need it. And not one advisor, not one person has asked me to share this with you. This is coming directly from my heart because I wish somebody would have shared this with me. I wish. So how do we build relationships? How do we build mutually beneficial relationships? And a lot of people say when it comes to, I gotta get these relationships, it's like, what can I get from this person? What can I get? But the people that build mutually beneficial relationships, listen to me closely, what they say is, what can I give? A mentor said to me, in every interaction that you make, do something to make that person's day a better day. Do something to make that person's life better. That's how you build mutually beneficial relationships. I was like, all right, let's go. So I was getting onto an airplane a few years ago, and I sit down next to a lady, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to focus on getting business. I'm not going to focus on anything. I'm going to focus on making her day a better day. And so we're talking, having a good time. She says, what do you do? And I told her, and she said, oh, well, my daughter's an event planner. She's like, give me your card, and I'll share it with her, and she'll reach out if there's interest. 3 months later, I booked the biggest event I'd ever booked in my life. When you focus on making the people that you surround yourself with, when you focus on making their day a better day, when you focus on making them better, when you focus on bringing them up, opportunities will come your way. Doors will open up for you. So this is an example of what just one. How many? How many? One relationship. This is what it did. This is the stadium at Jacksonville University. Because of the one relationship that I built with Kyle, one. That's where I got to play college football. One relationship. So in your life, you never know who that one person, that one act, how it can impact other people and how it can impact you. So my challenge to you when it comes to building relationships is that in every interaction that you have, any interaction that you have, you do something to make that person's day a better day. You do something to make that person's life better, and watch. Doors will open up. Opportunities will most certainly come your way. The second part is overcoming fear. The second part is what? All right, now I think this is really important that I mention this, that the type of fear that I'm talking about right now is not the type of fear coming face to face with a bear. I'm talking about the type of fear that we encounter every single day, especially when we're going after a major goal that we have, like the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of what people think about you, and the fear of the unknown. These are fears that we face every single day. So, no reason to blurt out loud, but I want you to think about this for a second to you. What is fear to you? It's an emotion. And in my opinion, it's just an illusion, because how many times have you been scared to do something? Maybe it's join a competition or try out for a team or take a harder class where you had to push yourself and you did it anyways, and that feeling that you had, it magically disappeared. It's just an emotion. So how do we recognize fear when it happens to us? How do we recognize it? Nervousness, anxiety, procrastination, Like when I found out I had this one 1-hour tryout, like this was it. I had one shot, one 1-hour tryout. I drove all the way up to Oxford, Mississippi. I knew one person in the state, which was Kyle, and I didn't even have a place to live. I was in the car, on the phone, trying to find a place to live. And when I got onto the campus, I saw Manning Way. I was like, man, this is what I had dreamt about. And I go to class that first day, and I'm so excited, but I'm so nervous. My heart is just pounding out of my chest. And I go to this indoor practice facility, and I go and I sit on the 10-yard line, and I watch guys like Michael Orr from The Blind Side. I see Mike Wallace, Eli Manning all walk by. I'm sitting there putting on my cleats, and they're walking and talking and laughing. And I'm like, are they talking about me? Are they laughing at me because I didn't fit in? And all I could think about is, what will my parents think of me if I don't make the team? What will my friends think of me if I don't make the team? So my last question is, how do we overcome fear? I'm going to give you the answer that mostly every single one of you immediately thought of. It's the one that we're always told. It's the one that everyone says you have to take action. You have to just feel the fear and do it anyways. This is what everyone says to do. So why do 99% of people, this is the number one thing that holds people back, why do 99% of people never do it? Why is it that 99% of people will never overcome fear? It's because there's no practicality to it. Whoop. It's because there's no practicality to it. So how do we overcome fear? The real answer is we have to get super educated on what it is that we want to accomplish. For this 1-hour trial, I called Kyle and I said, Kyle, is it indoor or is it outdoor? Is it on turf or is it on grass? What are the drills that we're going to have to do? I tried to learn everything that I possibly could, and then all I did is I practiced that thing over and over and over and over again, and that built confidence. And a human being with confidence is one of the most powerful things there is. And you can overcome any fear. A student came up to me and she goes, look, I get it, I got to feel the fear, I just don't have the confidence to do it. And I'm thinking in my own life, man, there's some times where I absolutely don't do things because I didn't have the confidence. And that's why this is so important that whatever it is that you want, whether it's a competition, whether it's a harder class, whether it's getting into college, whatever it is that you have right now, you have to get super educated on what it is and then practice what you need to do over and over and over so you'll build confidence. We watched an amazing advisor come up and just do a presentation, practiced over and over and over. And she had confidence. She came up here and crushed it. You can overcome any fear. So I stood up with my head high and I just did the trial. And I leave the trial and I'm walking and I'm like, man, did I do good? Did I not do good? I'm not sure. Finally, my phone rings and it's Kyle. So I pick up the phone, he says, you want the good news first or the bad news? And I was like, just give me the bad news, get it over with. He goes, you didn't make the team. I was like, you better give me that good news right now. He goes, you didn't make the team, but the coaching staff decided that they're going to extend you a 1-week trial. They're going to extend you a 1-week trial to prove to the coaching staff that you could take the hits that you're about to take on the practice squad. I was like, all right, let's go, bring it. So the next day, I walked into the locker room. Everybody else had a plated locker but me. I had a piece of tape on it with my name written and some oversized pads. And I sat in my locker and I was scared out of my mind. What if I go out there and get hurt? What if I drop a pass? What if I look dumb? Regardless of all that going on in my mind, I just walked through that tunnel out onto the field and just did the trial. I did my absolute best. I'll give you an example. We used to do a tackling drill, and there'd be a guy, and he was 2-3 times my size, and his job was to literally just drill me into the ground, was to tackle me into the ground. So other guys would do this drill, and they'd put the ball in their hand, and they would run like this. And when the guy would come to tackle him, they would just kind of fall back. When it was my turn to do that drill, man, I buckled up both chin straps. I put that ball in my hand. I squeezed it as tight as I can. I ran full speed, and I hit him first. And you know what? The players, They didn't like it, but they respected me because of it. The reason that I made the team is definitely because I wasn't the best, or the biggest, or the most talented. The reason that I ended up making that team was straight up because I wanted it more. I wanted it more than everybody else. When was the last time in your life that you had something and you truly wanted it more than everybody else? Because in here, the competition is fierce. Out there, it's even fiercer. So a student came up to me and said, hey, can you show video footage of you doing that Oklahoma drill? Like, I need to see video footage of this. So I emailed the video guy at Ole Miss, and I said, hey, do you have any video footage from when we did the Oklahoma drill? Can you send that over to me? And so he sends me an email, and there's no video link, but there's an attachment. He said, see attachment, this is your video. This is what he sent me. That's what I get. So I have to ask you, what are your fears in your mind? What's holding you back? Failure, rejection. Every single one of you in this room, whether you know it right now or not, it's okay. Every single one of you is given talent. Every single one of you is given purpose. And if you don't know what that is right now, your purpose is 100% to find your purpose. Nobody, I mean nobody, can farm like you, nobody can think like you, nobody can talk like you, nobody can write like you, but at the end of the day, it's on you. Nobody's going to do it for you. So it stands for this: fear, false evidence appearing real. And we all do a really good job, right? We all do a really good job of putting limitation on ourselves, on telling ourselves there's things that we can't do, but your mind and your body is the most powerful thing there is. And only you can hold yourself back. Arguably the greatest basketball player of all time, he said this. He said, I missed 9,000 shots. He said, I lost 300 games. He said, 26 times I was asked to make the game-winning shot and missed. He said, I failed over and over and over in my life, and that's why I succeed. It's Michael Jordan. Arguably the greatest basketball player of all time said, I fail over and over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed. So, are you guys all right with me being real with you? Yeah? Yes or no? Yeah! All right, y'all. That's my y'all right there. You like that, don't you? Y'all. Hey. You're going to fail. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Y'all, listen, hold on. For real. I'm for real right now, for real. You're going to fail, but what you have to understand is this. Listen to me closely. What you have to understand is this. It's okay to fail. Literally, you have to fail your way to success. There's no way around it. It wasn't like I just got onto the campus of Ole Miss, right? It wasn't like I got on the campus and the head coach came up to me and said, are you guys all right with me being real with you? Yeah? Yes or no? Yeah! All right, y'all. That's my y'all right there. You like that, don't you? Y'all. Hey. You're going to fail. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Y'all, listen, hold on. For real. I'm for real right now, for real. You're going to fail, but what you have to understand is this. Listen to me closely. What you have to understand is this. It's okay to fail. literally, you have to fail your way to success. There's no way around it. It wasn't like I just got onto the campus of Ole Miss, right? It wasn't like I got on the campus and the head coach came up to me and said, hey, great practice after your first practice. Here's a full Division I football scholar. No. I had to fail practice month, year after year. You have to fail your way to success. What most people do out there is they have something that they want to accomplish and they look at it and they're like, man, I really want that. I want to accomplish it, but I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to give myself a chance because I'm so worried about what people think about me. I'm so worried about failing. And so all I'm saying to you is give yourself a chance. It was said, hey, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Are you guys hearing me? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. You guys, can you hear me? Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Man, you guys gotta get hyped. What doesn't kill you what?
Makes you stronger.
It doesn't what?
Makes you stronger.
All right. Now you guys are with me. I tap some things in there every now and then. Can't avoid it. People say this all the time. They say things like this. Failure is not an option. Well, I say failure is the only option. And what you choose to do after that is the difference between the ones that get with it, whatever they want, and the ones that don't. The ones that get on the field and play ball, and the ones that sit on the sidelines and watch. The choice is yours. The choice is yours, and you only need just one. How many? And I was like, yes, I have this opportunity to really do something great. So that first year, built this huge reputation as this hard-nosed hitter, this guy that would never quit, this guy that had the dirtiest uniform on the field. At the end of the season, after I built this whole reputation, head coach gets fired. So I come back, we got a team meeting, I go to the team meeting, there's a man standing there with the clipboard, and he looks down at me, says, what's your name? I said, Richie. He looks down at me, he looks at the clipboard, he looks down at me. My name wasn't even on the list. I wasn't even on the team anymore. So my high hopes of maybe getting a chance to run out of the tunnel, maybe getting a chance to play in a game, right out the window, and I had to do exactly what I did the first year, all over again. At the end of the season, we got invited to the Cotton Bowl down in Dallas, Texas. I went down there, practiced with the team for 3 weeks. Didn't get to dress for the game, but I got to wear my jersey and stand on the sidelines. We win the game. The team that dresses and plays gets to go into the locker room, and I had to go and sit on the bus for 2.5 hours while the team celebrated. I was angry, right? Like, why can't I celebrate with the team? So I set some goals, and I said, man, I will never let this happen again. Going into my junior year, things started out great. New recruits. Because I was a walk-on, I was right back on the practice squad again. Vision of earning a scholarship got really cloudy. Broken bones, sprains, bruises, you name it, started to mount. This is extremely rare, but at the end of the season, we ended up getting invited back to the same bowl game in Dallas, Texas. Went down there and practiced with the team for 3 weeks. Didn't get to dress for the game, but I got to wear my jersey and stand on the sidelines. We win the game. The team that dresses and played gets to go into the locker room, and I had to sit on the bus for 2.5 hours while the team celebrated. So I decided to do what anybody else would do. I decided to quit. And I had a conversation with my dad, and I'll never forget this conversation because he didn't tell me not to quit. But what he did say is, don't let somebody's opinion of you dictate your future. And I was like, man, I'm letting all the students that would walk up to me and I would tell them I was on the football team and they didn't believe me dictate my future. All the players that would laugh at me, all the coaches that would laugh at me dictate my future. But when I really thought about it, it was me in my own mind. Walking out of the field, holding my helmet, saying to myself, you're not good enough, you're not talented enough, you're not smart enough to be out here. We all do. So I said, you know what, I have 1 year left. I'm just going to go all in. I'm going to go all in. So over that summer, I would go up the stairs to go to the head coach's office, and I would walk in, and I would go, Coach, what can I do to play this year? What can I do to get into a game? And there were some days I would walk up the stairs to go to his office, and the door was locked, and I'm pretty sure he was in there. Here comes Richie. But I promise you this, over that summer, I was the only person that was in the weight room doing something to get stronger every day. I was the only person in the film room doing something to get smarter every day. I was the only person on the field working on my craft every single day, even though I wanted to throw in the towel and quit every day. And eventually, at the end of the summer, a spot opened up on special teams. And someone said, hey, you got lucky you got that spot. You got lucky. But I was always told the definition of luck is when preparedness meets opportunity. There was an opportunity, and there wasn't one other person on that team that was more prepared than I was, so I took it. And going into training camp, I knew the playbook. I knew what the coaches wanted. So during camp, I balled out. And some of the players that were supposed to show up, they didn't. So about halfway through camp, I earned a spot on offense. At the end of camp, we had one final scrimmage. This was it. I walk into the locker room, and something just felt different. Something felt different. I get dressed, and I start running through the tunnel, and I get through, and there's a bright blue sky. There's fans in the stands, and I could smell the grass. It was a hot day, and I was warming up, and I get a tap on my shoulder. And when I turned around, it was the head coach. And when I looked at him in his eyes, all I could think about was my first Little League football coach that said, only 3% of high school football players will ever play Division I, don't even try. I thought about my 5th grade teacher who said to me in front of my parents, you'll never be worth anything. I thought about my coach at Jacksonville University who cut me because he didn't think I was a good fit for their program. They always told me that I wasn't big enough. They always told me I wasn't talented enough. They always told me I was dumb. But on that day in Vaught Hemingway Stadium, when I looked at that head coach in his eyes, he said to me, Richie, you've given me no choice. You're now on scholarship. Congratulations. Persistence. After the scrimmage, I run into the locker room, and I get dressed as fast as I can. I run to my car. I get into my car, and I call my mom. So excited, Mom, you're not going to believe it. It just happened. What? I just got put on full Division I football scholarship at Ole Miss. She's jumping and cheering, excited. I call my dad. And said, Dad, you're not going to believe it. He says, what? I got put on full scholarship, Division I football, Ole Miss. And I just hear silence. And he said something to me that I'll never forget because he very rarely ever said it. He said to me, I'm proud of you. Who do you make proud? Who's important in your life? Who matters to you right now? Because at the end of the day, all of this, the people you surround yourself with, your family, the people closest to you, that's what it's all about. Persistence is always when you're on the 1-yard line, when you have nothing left in the tank, when you've given up on yourself, when everybody's given up on you and you've hit rock bottom, it's always the ones that take one more step that get the goal, that get the dream. And I didn't end up just earning a scholarship. I got to start in all 12 games my senior year. Ran out of the tunnel at Alabama and LSU. I didn't get to run out of the tunnel at Clemson, but I wish I would. Was a Scholar Athlete of the Year award winner, which is lettering and honor roll in the same year. Graduated with a degree from Ole Miss. Played arena professionally. Starting a franchisable gym right now. And now I have the opportunity to travel the world and help other people get to where they want to go in life. And in 5th grade, I almost committed suicide. The reason I share this with you is not to share cool things. The reason I share this with you is because if I can do it, you can do it. And whatever it is that you want to achieve, whatever that goal is that you have, you don't have to be the norm, right? You don't have to be perfect. Like I was supposed to be, I think, like 6 foot 200. 5'7", I'm 150 pounds. Whatever the goal is that you have, you don't have to be this perfect person that you think you have to be. But if you have a vision and you write it down, you build relationships consistently with the people around you, you overcome fear, and you persist, then at least you can say that it's possible. So what's your story? All of you have your own challenges. All of you have your own circumstances, things that are holding you back, problems. They're all different. What's your story? The good news right now is that there's some audiences I speak to that it's a little, you have an opportunity, if you're not happy exactly where you are, to rewrite and get to where you want to go. For those of you that where you're at, you're happy with and you're crushing it, hey, awesome. Where are you at right now, where you want to be, and what are the first steps? And when you leave here today, you have two options. And I do want to say this in the next 45 seconds that I have with you, is that when you leave here, I'll be available to answer any questions, to hang out, take pictures, whatever. I want to hear your stories. I want to answer any questions and help you in any way that I can. And when you leave here, you have two options. Stay with me. We got 45 seconds. Option number one is you can leave here and kind of do what most people do and just float through. Float through life and just see what happens. Or you could say, you know what? I'm going to take control. And I'm going to leave here and I'm going to do what's challenging. I'm going to write down my goal. And in every interaction that I make, I'm going to begin building relationships and making every interaction, making that person's day a better day, making that person's life better. And you can overcome fear because you know what fear is. It's an emotion, it's an illusion. You know how to recognize fear when it happens to you, nervousness, anxiety, procrastination, and you know how to overcome fear. And yes, that's to take action, but you got to get super educated and practice that over and over and over and over so you can build confidence. And you can persist when you're on the 1-yard line, when you have nothing left in the tank, when you've given up on yourself, when everybody's given up on you and you've hit rock bottom. You're the one that's going to take one more step because everybody else is going to quit. It takes only just one, and that's you. Thank you so much for having me. I love you guys. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Contartesi, for a great message that you shared with us. We would like to present you with this gift on behalf of the South Carolina FFA Association.
Thank you so much.
Join our National FFA Vice President, Adrienne Shunk, for her workshop entitled, Always Enough, Always More. It will be tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. in the Daniel Hall, room 100B. Do we believe we are already enough to make an impact on our world just as we are? Or should we continue to grow as leaders to make this impact? This workshop will explore what these ideas mean and how they influence our leadership and lives on a daily basis. Madam Secretary, do you have record of any further business which should now be transacted?
I have two announcements, Madam President. All CDE and LDE registration will start tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. All events will register in the lobby of P&A building. All tagged students and their advisors are invited to a reception in McAdams Hall tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m.
Does any member know of any new or unfinished business which should properly come before this session? We are about to adjourn this second general session of the 92nd Annual South Carolina FFA State Convention. As we mingle with others, let us be diligent in labor, just in our dealings, courteous to everyone, and above all, honest and fair in the game of life. Fellow members and guests, please join me in a salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I now declare this session adjourned.